Good evening, SFL Nation, and welcome to Northwood Stadium in Minnesota as the Minnesota Legend look to take on the Mexico City Aztecs at your late night shift here on the SFL YouTube channel. My name is Jacob Clear, and alongside me is the good luck charm, arguably, from Mexico City last week as they knocked off the Sioux Falls Sparrows in Mark Lopez as they look to take on the Minnesota Legend, who have lost their last three after a strong start. Mark, what's going on? What are you looking out for tonight?
I'm doing okay, Jacob. Both teams, interestingly, coming off of close games. Mexico City with an overtime win last week. Minnesota just short in hope or potentially coming away with a comeback against Indianapolis last week. So both teams really with the onus of, trying to get a win, more so for Minnesota, who is now only one game ahead of the pack in their division after their loss last week. We'll see if they can come away with a win here.
The Central got even more complicated last week after Minnesota lost in a tight game to their bitter rivals Indianapolis, as that ledger was squared 1-1, and Mexico City had the coming out party for Jordan Sipe as they got the overtime win over Sioux Falls. Minnesota will kick off to Mexico City to start this one. It's the late slate of games will complete with this game. There's a short kickoff, mind you, by Minnesota. It'll be returned up to the 29 as we'll watch Jordan Sipe and the rest of this Aztecs offense that has struggled in part for most of this season. Last week was a real turnaround in form. A brilliant performance by Nick Lockett, the number one wide receiver. He's going to look to try and replicate those efforts from week 9. Single back formation for Sipe. And send the receiver in motion. Short dropout, sends it down deep, and it's a good catch over the middle. Brilliant start by Jordan Sipe. Fires it long. Finds Terrell Cooper, the third receiver on the depth chart.
And yeah, as you mentioned, brilliant play right here. Nice throw to the outside. And you mentioned about how they did well last week coming out party for Sipe. They did so well that they pretty much destroyed all their season averages the prior 6 weeks, overperforming those averages both in the running game and the passing game.
Fullback Buford Van Dam lined up in the backfield. He'll get the carry and picks up 3. The split between those two tailbacks last week, Van Dam and Bentley. Bentley had the better performance, but it was almost 50-50 between the two. Was what stood out for this Aztecs offense was the balance between not just their passing but also their running. They're going to go to another running set here. This time it will go to Van Dam again, and he will get close to a first down, and he'll get it. Crossing up past the 40, so 3 straight plays for Mexico City, all successful. A good start to this opening drive.
And that's the kind. Those were the same plays last week where Van Dam was doing exceptionally well, as just short chunk plays that will get enough for a first down. And you saw right there, power running out of the Joker's formation. It was very good for the first down.
And split backfield, and spread the 3 receivers they've got out. Sipe in trouble, fires it. It was targeted towards the receiver he targeted on the opening play of the drive in Terrell Cooper, but falls away. Good deflection.
Yeah, that was Buster Johnson, who finds himself in the midfield, or at least at the edge from his line position, and making the play, stopping the pass, and good defense right there. Set up 2nd and 10.
Set up again. Looks like Bentley is the lone back. They'll send the tight end Bill Henry in motion to the bottom. No one picks him up. That's a hot route. Sipe will roll out to the bottom. Target. Good. Oh, incomplete. Looked like Bill Henry had a hand on it, but it falls incomplete.
That was very close from being an amazing play. Amazing in all aspects, even in the pass protection. Plenty of key rushers picked up on the blocking. Unfortunately, it was a drop pass. Credit the defense for hitting the receiver and forcing that drop.
Good effort by Derek Meerkat to get up on a bigger body and make the stop. Sipe will drop back again. Under pressure, off his back foot, he fired it. It almost found the hands of Jason Bartley, one of the outside receivers who's been a little quiet this season by his standards, a long-time veteran for this offense. And I'll set up a 4th down and an unfortunate end to what was a really promising start to that drive after punt it.
Yeah, it seemed promising on the ground game at least. And then 3 back-to-back incompletions will force a punt. Last week, Sipe averaged over 70% completion rate. And very good last week passing efficiency. Minnesota dialed in against that passing play of Sipe. And that's what they were able to do to get the punt and get the offense on the field.
Fair catch caught by Rick Evans. He was one of the defenders involved in that final set of downs that ended up resulting in a 4th down. As we'll see the Minnesota offense led out by the superstar Colin Hart. He is in the backfield here and will get the carry to the far side and minimal yardage. Call it a gain of 4. Good open field tackle.
Yeah, that was great tackling. In the open field, that was Wolf Highwind who came in and closed the gap as there were the 2 outside defenders who were blocked incredibly well. Could have been an opening for for Minnesota right there for Colin Hart to run through, but good tackle instead.
Again goes to Hart on 2nd down. He'll crash forward and pick up 3 as we'll introduce you to the rest of this Minnesota offense led out by quarterback Johnny Reno. The wide receivers, Deezer Power, Queg Mam, and Jay Taylor, and the veteran Vin Callier, the tight ends, Jay Hayden and Jason France. The lone guard is Dusty Wilson. Reno will drop back this time, sends it to the far side. It's dropped and incomplete. Good chase down coverage. Believed by the outside linebacker Matthew Alvarado got across and made the play and forces a 3 and out.
Yeah, it was him. That pass, that was almost a shoelace catch right there, but the awkward posture and combination with the big hit forced that ball loose, and back-to-back punts by both teams. Mexico City back on the board for a chance at points.
Punting away was good, but it's good field position to start off here for the Aztecs, and we'll introduce you to their offense. Jordan Sipe, the quarterback, Jason Bartley, Nick Lockett, and Terrell Cooper make up the wide receiver room. Bill Henry and the mid-season signing, Devontae Richardson, make up the tight ends. The backfield, as mentioned, is Ray Bentley and Buford Van Dam. Bentley unsighted in the opening drive, but it sits up in the backfield on this opening play. You're going to spread the 3 receivers out once again. Handoff will go to Bentley. He'll find the outside, but can only pick up a couple. Good chase down defense. Again, Rick Evans involved at that corner spot. He's had a couple of good plays early.
And Miles Gibson playing good spy against Bentley. And a close eye on him and trying to follow him as Bentley tried to spread out to the right and slowed him down enough for the extra tackler to stop him.
Offset eye angled to the left. Sipe will hand it up again. Van Dam straight up the middle. This is the approach that was so eminent last week, but it goes for nothing. Aaron Gooden gets in with a stop.
Yeah, just traffic down the middle. A lot of congestion. You mentioned Gooden. Gibson as well involved in that tackle. And it's 3rd and long for Mexico.
Sipe drops back. Short throw is short of the sticks. He found Bartley again, but it was just short. And check that. That was Miles Gibson on that previous play. I'm not sure where I forked that name out of, but they're going to line up here on 4th and 1. They've favoured the run game a few times early, and they like the short yardage situation with Ray Bentley.
I think that's Buford Van Dam in the backfield.
They'll hand it off to Van Dam, and he's short. I don't think they're going to give it to him. Miles Gibson again with a big stop up the middle.
Gibson has been incredible in 3 back-to-back run defensive plays, whether it's trying to crash the halfback to the outside or down the middle, he was right there. And look at that, a 4th down stop.
You have to give credit. It was a gutsy play call by Mexico City to hand it to the fullback, who was very successful last week, but a terrific tackle by one of the league's form out inside linebackers in Miles Gibson. Hart will line up with the fullback angled to his left. He'll get the carry here, beats the first defender off a second, and was able to be chased down. A good effort in the end, but Colin Hart picks up a comfortable 10-yard gain.
Colin Hart averaged 4 yards previously last week, averaging the same amount almost this game, but an incredible run by him there. He is the league leader in touchdowns, so if there's anyone going to put points on the board for Minnesota, there's a high chance it's going to be him.
Same formation for Minnesota, same result. It's another carry for Colin Hart that nets only a couple, and we'll introduce you to the Mexico City defense, the defensive line of Ziggy Blaylock, Kyler Kingsley, Bernard Patterson, and Dan Tritz make up that elite defensive tackle core. Dexter Jackson, Wolfie Highwind, and John Fowler and Matthew Alvarado make up that 4-man linebacking core. We'll get back to that in a second. Another offset eye look for Minnesota. They're going to send Kalia in motion. Marino will drop back, pressured, off the back foot, looked deep. It was almost in the hands of the veteran Jason France, but he couldn't reel it in. That was a good look.
It was a very good look. France playing one-on-one with a defender, but unfortunately was bothered enough for that play to be unable to be corralled in. It will be 3rd and 8, and they're going to set out 4 wide receivers.
So much depth on this Minnesota offense. Reno will drop back. He sends it short to Hart, and Hart is stuffed. Call it a gain of 2, and very early, Mark, this is a real defensive contest heating up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's one defense protecting the run play, that was Mexico, or that was Minnesota, or Mexico staying very disciplined against the passing play, as they've, in this drive, prevented several long and short passes.
Fair catch caught at the 25. The rest of that Aztecs defense, Antoine Joe, Gerard Brody, and Liam Ryan, as well as Jeffrey Daggs and Ben Charbs as the defensive backfield. And Mexico City, another good stop by their defense. It's really a matter of which of these offenses can crack the game open first. Bentley will start in the backfield. They love this eye spread look early in this contest. Sipe will drop back to pass. Pressured. Short throw is caught. That was well handled by Nick Lockett. That's his first target and catch after 7 catches last week for 110 yards. He's a real favourable target for Jordan Sipe in this Aztecs offense. They're going to line up with Van Dam in the backfield. You call it, Mark. That's what they've been doing early, alternating the tailback between the two of them. It will go to Van Dam. Another good carry up the middle. He'll get close and will get the first down. Power running by Buford Van Dam to pick up the first.
And it almost looks like a tackle is his lead blocker. Couldn't get the number on the one playing the fullback position, but Van Dam playing the halfback and getting almost 10 yards, almost solos that first down. You mentioned power running. That was very powerful running indeed.
Sipe will drop back again, sets up a screen to the far side. Van Dam with a stiff arm. He'll pick up a first and some more. Buford Van Dam is heating up early now in this contest. Another terrific run to the outside, this time utilising him as an outside runner, not so much punching him up the middle. The versatility of the fullback early on is really impressive.
Now, it might have looked like he stepped out of bounds earlier, but I don't think they're going to challenge that. That is too close to call. But as you mentioned, Van Dam heating up. Who said he was only a power runner? He's also got the finesse to stay inbounds, break one tackle, and pick up huge yards.
And split the backfield again. Sipe will drop back with protection. Short throw, that was rough. Little sidearm throw, and luckily the linebacker had his back turned, otherwise that was going to be trouble. We'll introduce this Minnesota defense, the mouthful of defensive linemen: Angela Meerkat, Mike Mello, Axel Raven, Buster Johnson, and Max Knight, as well as Brookie Bird. They got 6 linemen that they can move around, and it's a really deep defense. And we'll get to the rest of them after this play. Sipe will drop back. Fires an interesting throw choice, and it's only going to net them a yard, if that. He sort of threw it across his body. I'm wondering what you thought that was trying to be there, Mark.
I too didn't see quite a lot. I wonder if Sipe looked downfield and had no options, had no choice but to throw away from his body and to the only open receiver, which was the flat, which was for 0 yards.
Single back is Bentley with 4 wide. Sipe will roll, interesting throw, and it's going to lose them too. I think it ended up being caught by one of the linemen. It's just everything's happening so far in this opening quarter.
Everything's happening. Everyone's getting a catch. Sipe throwing every so where that he wants to. Unfortunately, not netting him any positive yardage. And boy, this is how many now? 5 punts in a row.
Unbelievable. Both defenses have just been locked in so far in this game. And that will roll into the end zone for a touchback. If you're new to the Simulation Football League, well, first of all, welcome. The SFL is football for everyone. Get off the sidelines and start your play today by joining our Discord server at simulationfl.net. Click Join the Community button and begin your career, or just meet the stars that you're seeing tonight on and off the field. It's never too late to get involved. Minnesota back out there from their own 20 after that punt dribbled into the end zone. The handoff will go to Hart. Short yardage again. They've been locked in on Colin Hart so far. Dexter Jackson, a good tackle at the line of scrimmage.
I mean, definitely, I'm not surprised they're trying to attack Colin Hart quite a bit. He's the player that they got on their assignment, especially because of how well he has been all throughout the season, whether it be carrying the ball or scoring with the ball.
The drop back. This one fires and is good. That's a nice touch on the throw. He finds Vin Callier, the veteran wideout that they brought over from London in the off-season after that team was shelved. And he's been quiet. I think they will be disappointed with the amount of production they've been able to get from him, but he could be really important. They need something different to open up this Aztecs defense, and that could be an option.
Callier, the first wide receiver to get a catch from Reno so far, who has 2 completions out of 4 attempts.
Another throw by Reno, fires and caught. A suddenly pass-heavy offense with a couple of quick plays out. This team normally has most of their success running it on the ground. The last 2 plays have fired it to Reno's left and have resulted in big completions.
Yeah, and look at that. 34 yards so far. That's out of 3 total completions by Reno. And Jay Taylor, benefactor of 1 huge play. He himself had a decent showing last week. 2 catches, 20 yards. That's about an 11 or 10 yard average. So they might use him to leverage the offense more.
Similar throw and same result. Fires and finds the hot hand in Vin Callier. Callier, Taylor, Callier. It's the same spot of the field that they're exploiting at the moment. Minnesota is starting to pick up on some weaknesses in this Aztecs defense.
And it's not only the same location, but it's also a very similar coverage that Mexico City fielded out there. And as you mentioned, that sore spot has been, they just spotted it. They just found out the opening and just threw it there 3 times.
Reno will drop back to pass again. Short throw is fired to the fullback, it looked like, and that'll net 4. And just it was really impressive the way that they responded to what the Aztecs defense was giving them. They picked up on the fact that Colin Hart wasn't getting the room that they'd be perhaps used to in a general sense, and have just started to open up their back end of the defense with the pass. They're going to keep a running formation here. This will go to Hart. He's got a little bit more room this time, but only nets a couple, and will set up 3rd and short.
Yeah, Mexico City, despite being barraged 4 plays in a row with successful passes, tried to stay disciplined against the run game and allowed, it was about a 2-yard, 3-yard gain, so still a solid tackle and defense against Colin Hart.
Short handoff. Hart is gone at the line. He didn't get it. Ben Charbs in from the strong safety spot to make the play.
Ben Sharps, incredible tackle right there out of 3rd and short. Also had a good showing last week, and with his tackle, he will bring the end of this quarter ticket.
End of 1 here in Minnesota, and no points. Back here with Minnesota set to kick a 3-pointer to open up the scoring, you would imagine. Kick sails up and he snuck it in on that upright. He didn't get it.
Oh, he didn't.
It's a miss. Mickey Malillo has absolutely shanked that one. It looked like he kept it to the outside, and I think it rattled off the upright. It did. It was high. It hit the top of the goalpost. He couldn't have done that again if he tried.
Malillo with some flashbacks. His previous field goal in their loss last week ended the same way, Jacob. A doink on the right up post. And boy, is he probably walking to the bench with his head down.
It's great analysis that you've picked that up. It was the same result. That short throw finds Henry, and that's a good gain. Well read by Jordan Sipe to fire it to the outside, and he's been really good. Consistent across the board this season. Bill Henry has really stepped up in the absence of Mike Daggs, who reportedly was the tackle who made that catch on the previous drive, so you still can't quite get rid of Mike Daggs, but Bill Henry has really stepped up in that vacancy, this tight end spot that has been so important for this Aztecs team. Has been a really top season for him. As Van Dam will line up as the single back, the 2 tight ends in the frame. They're going to send one of them in motion. It's Henry. Toss to the outside. Van Dam's got another open tackle on the first play, but he couldn't beat the second defender there in Daniel Wright. He was able to get past Miles Gibson. That was the tough bit, but a good recovery by the safety.
And that was actually a good tackle, good read by the defense, because with Bill Henry shifting to the right side, they're trying to show potentially a toss to the right side, but it was a toss to the left and a good tackle on that side of the field by the defense.
Sipe drops back. It was in the hands and out of them. It was a good throw, and he found Jason Bartley, but he was unable to hang on. 3rd and long coming up.
A little too stiff with the gloves, perhaps. Put some lotion in those gloves, soften them up, make those catches. But you mentioned it. Nice throw. Nice find, too, by Sipe. Unfortunately, a drop right there.
4 wide for the Aztecs. They're going to send Bentley in as a receiver. Interesting call. There's a Sipe in trouble off the back foot and didn't really get it in near anyone on his own team, but didn't turn the ball over. And the point-scoring lull will continue.
So this makes non-scoring drive number 7 for the evening. We would have had one if not for the missed field goal, but here we go again with still donuts on the board.
Punt fires away. Caught again by Rick Evans just before the 20, and he's tackled at the 17, and that's where Minnesota will come back out. For all league highlights, photo galleries, major and minor league stats and leaderboards, community content, and so much more, check out the league's website at simulationfl.net, presented by Football Shift. Stay up to date and explore our past, present, and future. Speaking of SFLM, there were 5 new teams announced this afternoon. Congratulations to all of the successful applicants. Looking forward to seeing those teams take the field in a couple of months' time. as Minnesota will send Collier in motion to the bottom. Reno short drop, that fires it, and it's a one-handed grab. He's had a couple now today, Vin Collier, and that's even more impressive than the first two.
Yeah, nice catch right there. Johnny Reno only has an average of 60% throughout the season, but so far tonight looking very nice. Over 70% completion rate, 75% in fact. 6 out of 8, he's looking on fire.
Short run up the middle. Colin Hart is stuffed again. Mexico City have really tuned on to the running game of Minnesota at the moment, and that's another tackle for loss. Dexter Jackson involved.
Yeah, Colin Hart had that 10-yard rush in their second drive, but since then he has been brought down to an average of 3.4 yards per carry.
They're going to try it again here with Hart on the outside, and they've got him again. Twice in a row, same player, same result. How about the play in the backfield? And they're going to force another one. It was Wolfie Highwind twice in a row. The rookie stepping up for this Aztecs defense.
And they're just clogging the middle of that line. Minnesota has been attacking the inside, and they're just trying to meet Mexico City head on, and Mexico City doing their assignment, just stacking the defense.
Another return finds Mexico City in good field position. If you're liking the game so far, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The SFL produces over 400 events every year. There is no one else that gives you that much football. Don't miss a minute of SFL or SFLM action and help the channel grow through your support. And we haven't had any points so far, but this has still been a really enthralling contest with the way that both of these defenses have just been completely cancelling each other out. As Van Dam will line up in the backfield, he's been a real focal point early. They're going to fire it and finds the other star on this Mexico City offense in Bill Henry.
Yeah, you mentioned Bill Henry earlier, taking the spot of Mike Dadds very nicely indeed. In fact, he is the leading receiver for Jordan Sipe with 48 catches in the season. That's actually 6th best in the season as a tight end. He has been working hard.
Bentley again stuffed in the backfield. Both of these defenses have been awake to the run. Ray Bentley had a good week last week, 13 for 80 on the ground, but that time Max Knight was all over him.
That was Max Knight, I believe. Stephen Black they sent him early to slow Bentley down, and the tackler was there to stop him.
Sipe drops back. It's caught deep. Good throw and catch. Finds Terrell Cooper, who's been unsighted since the first play of the game, but still a really versatile weapon in the slot, and he finds him. Beautiful throw by Jordan Sipe.
Beautiful throws to his receiver, who was in a one-on-one matchup, and Cooper wins that one-on-one, jumps in the air, climbs the ladder, gets the catch, and that's a 1st and 10, and what seems like a very sparse, game in terms of obtaining first downs.
Sipe will roll out and dump it off in the backfield. He's used Van Dam quite a lot as a receiver a couple of times early on in this game, and again, you mentioned earlier the versatility that he has as a fullback, not just as a lead blocker for Bentley, but as a rusher and a receiver. He can do it all.
Pass protection as well. He already has 8 touches in the evening after that reception.
You're going to line Van Dam up in the backfield again. He'll get the carry up the middle and a first. He just keeps motoring forward for this Mexico offense.
He already has over 50 total yards catching and rushing on the ground. Buford Van Dam is a problem that Minnesota seems to not have answered yet this far.
And he's taking the ball out of the hands of Ray Bentley, who's a Hall of Famer, no less. That's impressive unto itself. Sipe will drop back with good protection. Fired. Oh, it was almost picked off. Had to be careful. It was in double coverage, and Daniel Wright nearly gobbled that one up.
Yeah, Daniel Wright sitting zone just down in the middle and read that ball all throughout Sipe's motion and just couldn't bring it in. That could have been an interception, Jacob.
That could have really hurt them in this situation. It's been a really good drive so far for the Aztecs. They'll send Buford Van Dam in motion to the right-hand side of the line. Sipe will drop back again. Pressured. Caught over the middle. Great catch off a good route run. And another catch. This time, it's Nick Lockett for the second time this evening.
Nick Lockett, he scored the game-winning touchdown last week. A very high-impact player last week. And this week as well, this evening, showing that he can make big plays and gets his second catch of the evening. He has been incredible when thrown to him. It's an average of over 12 yards. Over 10 yards when thrown to him.
Angled off to the left. Sipe will drop back. Sacked. Gone. Buried in the backfield by Miles Gibson. This versatile inside linebacker has been an absolute superstar for this Minnesota defense. And he gets in and takes out Sipe.
Yeah, they rushed 5. The lineman pretty much just opened up a hole down the middle. And Gibson just jumped that gap and got to Sipe in a hurry.
It sets them back about 5. Sipe will drop back again. He's pressured. He somehow fires it to Van Dam, who's got open space. Touchdown. Buford Van Dam again in the receiving game. This time got the block he needed and gets a 10-yard score to boot.
Holy Moses, Van Dam looking like the early player of the game so far, as not only does he score a touchdown, he does it while destroying the defense. He will put the first points on the board out of an incredible running play.
Credit that final block by Nick Lockett on one of the safeties that had dropped back for Minnesota. That essentially turned what would have been a stop on about the 2 to a touchdown play, as the extra point will go up and through the uprights. And there you go, after what was, the first 15 minutes of play were a bit of a lull scoring-wise. Mexico City finally capitalizes on a good drive and gets on the board first.
A solid drive from them. Obviously, Buford Van Dam, the star of that drive. But you got to give it to Sipe as well, who made some key throws, converting third downs and pushing the ball forward.
Kickoff caught by Evans, and he'll return it up past the 20 and to the 26. And we'll send it back to SFL Studios. Cameron Irvine with a game update.
Thank you, Jacob. This is an incredible play. 11 seconds before this play happened, Delaney Nash got a sack on a Julian Tyree rollout. This time he fakes the blitz, steps back in coverage, and gets a pick 6 off it. 27-3 all Fort Worth in the third. Back to you in Minnesota.
Angled handoff to Colin Hart, and he'll only pick up a few. Again, Mexico City pressing up on him. What an athletic play that was by Delaney Nash, and a real blowout in the opening half as Sioux Falls at home falling to the undefeated Fort Worth Toros. But all eyes at the moment on the Aztecs, who are potentially have got a lead here on the Minnesota Legend away from home. Reno's going to drop back across the middle. That was tough. Reeled in, I believe, by Jay Hayden, the backup tight end on the roster who they brought out of retirement. He picks up 7 and makes it a bit more comfortable.
Mixing it up with a nice short pass down the middle. That's the kind of pass they were looking to supplement Colin Hart's rushing. Those short passes. And now it's 3rd and 1. Colin Hart will get the handoff.
Hart again, he got the first down, but it was very close to Mexico City being able to get up again. It's been a really tough afternoon for a player who, through the opening 9 weeks, was argued to be the leading rusher in the league in terms of yardage and scoring. He's been in that conversation for MVP, but tonight, Mexico City have locked him up big time. They're going to send Callier in motion. Reno will drop back. Pressured. Incomplete. It was almost picked off, and probably should have been picked off by the outside linebacker. Very unlucky. It was Matthew Alvarado again in a pass coverage situation, breaking up the play, but that one he feels probably should have been picked off.
Yeah, I thought I saw either Patterson or Tritz getting to Johnny Reno, and that pressure just forced an ugly pass.
Reno with a short
Oh,
crowd.
there
This
you
one's
go.
picked. Going back the other way is Ben Chubbs, the strong safety. Rather, it's one of the backups. Gerard Brody, the outside corner. The Australian gets a pick. And Mexico City get a turnover. That could be big leading into the back end of this second quarter.
Questionable throw into triple coverage, and the defense makes the play. Gerard Brody hauls in the interception, and you're right, it's going to be big, not only because it's a turnover, but look at where Mexico's starting. They're already about 50 yards from field goal range and potentially another score.
A line Bentley up in the backfield. Huge opportunity for Mexico City. Bentley will rush.
Blocking.
He goes to the outside. Spin move. Look out. He gets 7, but that could have been something even bigger.
Yeah, the blocking all the way up to the second level was impeccable. Minnesota had to bring in all the safeties to tackle and bring down Bentley. And 7 yards gained on what feels like a running game. Besides Buford, everyone else seemed to be struggling, but Bentley, good one on that play.
Bentley again got caught behind his own blocker, and he's going to lose 2 of the 7 gained on the previous play. Good read in the backfield, picked up by Mark Mello.
And way too often in the league, we see running backs get, stalled out by their own blocker. But we credit the defensive ends just pushing those front linemen all the way back and hitting the running back, slowing them down enough for the tackle.
Spread the receivers out on 3rd down. We won't get that play. We'll hit the 2-minute warning. Mexico City with the football on a 3rd down situation, looking to extend this game out to 2 scores. We'll be back in a moment. Back here in Minnesota, Mexico City on the road with the lead and possession. 2 minutes left in the opening half. 3rd down and 5. Sipe will drop back. He's got a read downhill and almost caught. Had to really reach for that one. Terrell Cooper had his back turned to the defender and just jarred free. It looked like it was a beautiful throw by Jordan Sipe to get it onto his chest, but the leading receiver, at least out of the wide receivers, was able to reel it in.
That was Johnny Bravo on the hit. And yeah, you're right. It looked like already in the hands of the receiver, but Bravo just jarred it loose.
Hunt will sail away to the left-hand side. Evans doesn't know whether or not he wants to catch it, and it's going to bounce favourably for him. He got a bit lucky there. And it will sail out of bounds at about the 20. So Minnesota will get a chance to potentially mount a scoring drive of their own before the half is out. They've been underwhelming so far by their standards this season. They'll line up again with Colin Hart in the backfield with Hayden in front of him. Short throw, overreached it. He was looking for Deezer Powell and overthrew it.
Powell was also jammed, it looked like, and he was just slowed down enough that Powell couldn't make the point of delivery, and it turned into an incompletion.
Bit too much pepper on it from Johnny Reno, but no harm done. In a line with the same formation. Reno's just going to hand this one off to Colin Hart, who again got jarred behind the line and only picked up 1, and it seemed like he was lucky to even be spotted with 1 line. Once again, this has been a complete shutout from the Mexico City offense. 11 carries for 30 yards from Colin Hart. A terrific effort by the Aztecs defense. They're going to spread the receivers out here on 3rd and 9. These are Powell in motion. Reno drops back, rolls out into the pocket. Now he's going to take it down himself. And he gets close to the first, but he's just shy. And Mexico City will call a timeout, so they'll get possession back before the quarter's out.
That, in as much as I'd like to credit Reno for taking that run, picking up 9 yards, that looked scary at the end. He was tackled by 3 defenders. If hit any harder, I mean, knock on wood, he would have been injured, but thankfully he's not.
Punted away, and Mexico City will get another shot. The field position isn't going to be fantastic by what they've had earlier in this game, but just under a minute left on the clock. We like to think, I read that stat line earlier, Rochelle Colston and Justin reside on stats with us tonight. Justin pulling a double shift, we appreciate the effort. A sight will come out now with Bentley in the backfield. See if they go aggressive here to try and get another score on. They'll just hand it off to the veteran and he'll pick up only a couple. And they're not going to be in a hurry to call a timeout.
Yeah, the tackling out by the edge has been solid for Minnesota against Mexico. And you see right there, Buford Van Dam once again in the backfield.
Miles Gibson has 5 tackles on the half, and he's been a real star for this defense. As again, Van Dam gets the carry, and look who's there, right on cue, Miles Gibson.
He was slow to get up. I thought something bad might have happened, but he still picks up 6 yards. And, I mean, his power really gets him a lot of the way through. It looked like he was tackled after a 2-yard gain, but he just rolled over all the other defenders for a total of 6.
They will call a play before the half is out, and it's incomplete, falls away, and, well, they'll punt it back to Minnesota. That will stop the clock, so Minnesota might potentially have a shot at this one, but by all accounts, this one is going to go to the halftime shed 7-0. Punting unit from Mexico City out. Just got to send this one as far away as you can. Caught by Evans just inside the 30, and he'll get no further than the 30. They ganged up on special teams and brought him down, and that will end the half. That punt. So Mexico City walking out of the first half with a shock 7-0 lead. They have held this Minnesota offense scoreless. Mark, your key takeaways from the first half.
It's just defense, 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 especially defense on the ground, especially defense against Colin Hart and Ray Bentley. The only silver linings for either team is the one player, Buford Van Dam, who Minnesota seems to so far struggle to answer, whether it be Van Dam catching the ball or Van Dam running the ball. And on that one drive that went for 75 yards, 9 plays, a lot of that was Van Dam catching the ball as well as scoring the touchdown. So this Minnesota defense, they gotta find the answer, and perhaps it's just power that they needed because they're just getting overpowered in a sense.
There it is, Buford Van Dam, your first half a player of the game, over 70 yards across both the ground and the air. And the other crucial point of that opening half was the interception, 30th career pick for the man from northern New South Wales in Australia, Gerard Brody, who's been with this Aztecs team since he was drafted, such a loyal servant. And that's your first half story. Minnesota will start with possession as we get things back underway in Minnesota. No return from Rick Evans, and we've got another game update from Commissioner Cameron Irvine back at SFL Studios.
Thank you, Jacob. You'll never believe this. 27-3 in the third quarter, and Julian Tyree is picked off by Aiden Davis, and it's brought back to the house. Fort Worth has 176 interception return yards and 200 yards of offense. 34-3. Fort Worth, back to you, Minnesota.
Unbelievable. Disastrous for Sioux Falls at home as Colin Hart gets another carry. And guess what? We've seen that a lot. Short yardage. Dexter Jackson this time involved on the outside.
What we haven't seen a lot out of Colin Hart has having him run outside runs, outside routes, whether it be a stretch play, a toss to the outside. He's just been trying to punch through the middle, and Mexico City is always there to meet him.
Reno will drop back to pass again, fires. It's a tough catch. Did well to reel that one in and makes it third and manageable. Jay Taylor involved.
Yeah, nice catch in under pressure. Two defenders there to make the hit, and yeah.
Go back to Hart in a running formation. It will go to Hart. Short yardage, but he's got the first. Just barely. Again, they've let him have very little room, but when called upon, he has been good in those short yardage situations.
Yeah, he has about 2 or 3 first downs obtained in short yardage situations. Now, the issue for Minnesota is they got to get to those first or third and short situations in the first place for Colin Hart to make use of them on the ground game.
Hart again to the outside, and he is dropped at the line of scrimmage. I want to note, Colin Hart averages 5.5 yards per carry on the ground. Tonight, 2.5. That is a real telling point and a huge sign of improvement from this Mexico City defense that has struggled for most of this season. They've really taken a step forward over the last couple of weeks, but tonight has been incredibly impressive. As Hart this time gets to the outside, you can never underestimate him once he gets open space. And that's a better carry and gets him back to a 3rd and 2.
Yeah, that's the thing I was saying. To the outside might be more successful for him, and sure he does. Gets a nice amount of gain for Minnesota. And instead of running down the middle where the defense was expecting him, he breaks out for 8 yards.
You got a good open block there. The tackle on the right flexed out and was able to make an on-field block that sort of created that play for him. We'll go back to a joker's look on 3rd down. Hart again. Mexico City stacked the box. They'll get him at the line of scrimmage. Dexter Jackson checking in again. He's had a couple of big tackles to start this half.
I mean, I mentioned you got to get to 3rd and short for Colin Hart to be effective, but if he gets 0 yards, well, 3rd and short doesn't matter.
Punt fired away. Mexico City will get possession again. I said this earlier, it's as if these two teams are just cancelling each other out at the moment. As Jeffrey Daggs will field that one at the 31, and we'll get another look at this Mexico City offense that was doing a lot better in driving down the field, but just couldn't quite complete those drives until that eventual receiving touchdown for Buford Van Dam. And as you mentioned at the halftime break, Mark, you'll be looking for more of him in this second half to keep chewing away at this clock. Bentley will get this carry to the outside, and he'll pick up about 7. That's a good carry from the veteran.
And Mexico City, even though it's a 1-score game, it almost feels like the 7 points in itself could be a 20-point lead the way this game is going. So I won't be surprised if Mexico City just now goes to the run game and keep at it and bleed the clock that way. Maybe sneak in a few field goals here and there.
They'll check it to Bentley again. This time he's upped and dumped again by Miles Gibson. He's having himself a night.
Yeah, Gibson earlier in the first half making plays against Bentley, and then here again. That's kind of a tackle for loss, but still a good tackle against Bentley.
This time they'll put Van Dam back there for the short yardage. Angled off to the right. He gets an outside edge. He won't get it. Good recovery by the Minnesota defense. And they'll force another 3 and out.
Gonna convert on the sweep play by Van Dam. Surprising play to call for Van Dam, as he's more of the power rusher. Perhaps a more vertical run could have gotten the first down. And so it's another punt.
It's a great point. They've had a lot of success running him straight up the gut, or have been tossing it to him now on the outside, or rather pitching it. That punt rolls into the back of the end zone without being returned, and Tomorrow, the Pacific is front and center when Los Angeles visits Seattle at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shocker, I'll be calling that game as well. Paired with the Vancouver Legion welcoming the Denver Nightwings. This is the second block under the lights. Gabriel Manning's Desperados welcome Cubba Kimbrell's Fury. Plus Alamo City heads to Indy to face Ryan Roosevelt and the Ramblers. It all starts tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on this very place, the SFL YouTube channel. Hart to the far side, and he'll get room. This is Colin Hart at his best. Open field and tackled out of bounds. A good recovery, but that's the first time we've really seen him bust open this Mexico defense. It's been a tough night for him, but that's a breakout.
Yeah, if he only has to deal with one defender that he can shrug off, which we don't see in this replay, but he did shrug off one 2B tackler behind the line of scrimmage, and then had a key block in front of him, and it was just open space, makes a play. That's the big play they needed all night.
They did a good play call as well, because they sold Jay Hayden as a bit of a decoy at that fullback spot to the opposite side, and that shifted the Aztecs defense across. This time they'll go behind Taylor, and Dexter Jackson will ride him all the way for a gain of about 4.
Yeah, Dexter Jackson lining up at the edge and quickly releasing to meet Colin Hart there at the line, but still a 4-yard gain by Colin Hart. Here's hoping, at least Minnesota hopefuls are hoping Colin Hart will finally heat up and get some points for the team.
Another angled run to Hart. This has been what they've been doing almost exclusively, and that nets him a few and sets up 3rd and short.
Much better than down the gut where it was 0 yards, 1 yard most of the time. That angled run is good for about a couple yards, maybe 3. And here's another 3rd and short. Mexico City, though, they're primed to stop the run.
They've been very good at stopping him up the middle. This time he'll go to the far side, and Alvarado met him and was cleaned up eventually by the inside linebacker as well. Nice rob. Wolfie Highwind again. This Mexico City linebacking core has been superb tonight. Alvarado in pass coverage, but Wolfie Highwind and Dexter Jackson have been all over Colin Hart tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just outnumbered that side of the offense. I wonder if Minnesota was expecting Mexico to think the left side where all the receivers were, where was the defense going to come to, but instead they met Colin Hart at the right place at the right time.
Punt was returned by Jeffrey Daggs, but only for about a yard, and Mexico City get the ball back, and another drive that has started promising for Minnesota, but unfortunately fell apart at the last hurdle. As soon as Mexico City were able to get a grip back on the run game from Minnesota, it fizzled out very quickly. This defense has been impressive tonight. Sipe with 2 in the backfield. I'll send Van Dam up into the line. Sipe will drop back. Oh, he pumped behind him and he'll get sacked. A weird choice by Jordan Sipe to pump across his body, and Buster Johnson was having none of it.
I think he was pump faking to Ray Bentley for the swing pass right there, if that was Ray Bentley, but instead probably saw the defender, thought that it would be deflected, and keeps the ball instead. That's a negative loss of yard.
Call a loss of 6. That pushes them right back. I'm going to spread the receivers out here. Short drop by Sipe. That was a short yardage situation, but it will be called DPI, but unfortunately it will negate the previous sack.
Doesn't get the previous sack. It's 1st and 10 once again. Silver lining, it was a short, or it happened at short, gain pretty much. So it's only got a few yards out of that penalty, but you're giving Aztecs a more breathing room.
It's what I call a coach killer, a completely unnecessary penalty to give away, because even if he catches it, it's only about 2 or 3 in the game. Right. Instead, they give him a fresh set of downs. Sipe with Bentley angled off to his right. They're going to send Lockett in motion to the bottom. No one picks him up. Look out for that matchup.
3 on the bottom.
Sipe drops back. He looks that way, and it's caught for a first down. Instead, it's Jason Bartley who gets the grab, call it a gain of 13 and a first down.
Yeah, there were just 3 receivers lined up against 2 defenders on that side of the field and overloaded, really. Look at that route, cuts to the outside, and a defender really has to gamble, do I protect the underneath or the over receiver, but that just gives Type enough time to throw to his open man and another first down.
Single back is Van Dam. 2 receivers to Sipe's left. Sipe will drop back with Van Dam in pass protection, and it's in and out of the hands of Bill Henry, unable to reel that one in.
I guess Bill Henry was the first read on that situation. And unfortunately for Sipe, he had 2 receivers at the left side that had a lot of cushion, and no linebackers picked them up after the snap. Could have had a nice chance there, but they'll try for 2nd and 10.
Ace look again from the Aztecs. Minnesota are going to pack the box. He's
nice.
Dave. They made the right call. They put the pressure on Jordan Sipe, and Max Knight gets home.
And boy, was that a timely sack right there. There was a beautiful route by Terrell Cooper running to the inside. Could have been a gain of maybe 5 yards, 6 yards. They read the quick potential play, and they sent a quick sack instead.
Check that. That was Mark Mello coming off that edge spot, who just went straight through the inside of that Aztecs line. Good decision to attack the inside. And it sets up a 3rd and long here for the Aztecs. They'll send Lockett in motion again. Sipe will drop back, pressured again, and sacked again. Minnesota's front 7 is starting to lock in. It's Angela Meerkat with the sack.
That's the deep defensive line you're talking about. And this time it's Meerkat with the with a sack, as she runs to the outside, beats her blocker. Not even bothered. In fact, it looked like they just bumped shoulders and makes a key sack. There's another player right there who met Sipe. That was a 2-man sack, and what a huge play.
It was Max Knight again. It was involved on the previous one. This time he'll be credited with a half sack, and that punt will be sent away, and Minnesota's offense will get the ball back, as Rick Evans will return it up to the 29 and no further. Now available free to download, you can play the SFL video game on the go on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, an emulator for 4K 23 in the palm of your hand. Order your Retroid today, goretroid.com. Search SFL and download our mod at simulationfl.net/4K23. Retroid, the official console of the SFL, and any Mexico City fans will be trying to replicate this defensive performance tonight on the Retroid. As Hart will get to the outside, and speaking of which, they swarm him again. Dumped at the line of scrimmage. In fact, it looked like he was lucky to get to the line of scrimmage. They've just been able to pick up on his runs every time. Matthew Alvarado getting the tackle.
Alvarado have been very busy all night. They are still scoreless. They have been scoreless the last 3 quarters. If they remain scoreless, they'll be scoreless for 4 quarters in a row spanning the previous game.
Short throw and catch finds Vin Callier. It'll set up a 3rd and short.
3rd and short. Although the 4 yards here, the way this game's been going for Minnesota, seems like 3rd and a mile. We'll see if they go back to Colin Hart. He's lined up in the I, Jacob, but I don't know.
Reno will drop back, rushes to his left. He's going to keep it and will get the first. This time he doesn't absorb the defenders like he did on the previous play where he ran it, and just takes a sensible approach and slides and gets the first.
Yeah, which is smart, because once again, 3 defenders were there to meet him, and this time slides, trips everyone else up, and gets a nice first down, and now they're going.
There's progress early. This time they try the misdirection run again. Hart will get a little room, but they're only going to credit him with 2. Another good tackle, Jeffrey Daggs, who's been pretty unsighted tonight. The veteran free safety, one of the best the league has ever seen. But again, that's just a credit to how good this Aztecs defense has been across the board. And they're going to spread the receivers out here on second and medium. But they'll hand it off to Hart again, trying something a little different. And it still nets him only two. Ben Charbs coming into the box and finishing him off. That'll do us. 3 quarters down, 1 to go here in Minnesota. Mexico City holds the lead, leading into the 4th. Put your fours up in the chat. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Thank you, Curtis. Back here in Minnesota. Minnesota with possession. Down by 7. Huge 4th quarter coming up for both of these teams' seasons. Empty backfield for Reno. They're going to send Callier in motion to the far side. And Reno will drop back. Deep look is caught. Jason France off to the races. Jason France is down at the 15 rather. What a play by the tight end who has been unsighted for the opening 3 quarters. Finally has a big break, and Minnesota opened the 4th quarter up with a bang.
And look at that. Finds the opening in coverage. They only needed a crack, and boy did they find a huge hole, a huge gap in coverage. Makes them pay, and finally with a chance of some points on the board.
It's the first time Mexico City's defense has looked vulnerable in the opening 3 quarters of the game. Hart will get an angle run to the far side and still only nets a couple. They've just been locked onto him all night.
Yeah, it's always been send one tackler to slow him down, send the second to clean up the run, especially in the outside. And Colin Hart has been struggling, shaking off the first defender most of the time.
Mexico City call an audible defensively. Handoff will go to Hart again, and he's stuffed. Call it a gain of 1. It's Wolf High Wind again.
Yeah. Before that huge pass, Jacob, if Minnesota ended up being scoreless throughout the rest of the game, that would be the fewest points ever Mexico City would have allowed. Fewest they've ever allowed before this is 3, and now Minnesota has a chance to tie that fewest points allowed by Mexico.
Empty back set for Reno. He's going to take a shot here. He'll look, and it's picked off in the end zone. And I believe it's Jeffrey Daggs stepping up for his defense. Gets the pick, and that is massive for Mexico City.
Wow, what a jump to get that interception. And that's it. Some sick joke by the football gods. As I mentioned, they got a chance to put points on the board. They just turned it over.
There you go. Mike Daggs almost preempted that in the chat, asking Reno to throw a pick, and he did just that, straight to the second down in the bloodline of the Daggs family. Big pick by Jeffrey, and Van Dam will pick up where he left off. He almost broke that one off. I think that was what you were looking for, but still a gain of 5, and this is big opportunity now for Mexico City.
It'd be funny if they end up with this scoreline at the end. Only 6 times have Mexico City scored 7 or fewer points. All times they've lost.
Another handoff. This one's Bentley, and it'll net about 3, so sets up 3rd and comfortable.
Got stuck behind Buford Van Dam this time, and then the defense was just there to meet Bentley. It's 3rd and 2, though. Wouldn't be surprised if Van Dam is lining up at the backfield.
Van Dam has been very good in these situations, and he is indeed lined up with Bentley in front of him. He'll get the handoff. Short gain. Got it. He'll net the first down. He was finished off in the end by Derek Meerkat, but not before he got the first.
I must say, I'm surprised he decided to cut to the inside and try to beat defenders down the middle. There was traffic down there, but nimble enough on his feet to make a couple moves and just get enough for the first down.
Van Dam this time goes straight up the middle. He must have heard you. And that's 6. That's a better run.
Yeah, better run, and all night he has been the star for Mexico City. 11 carries, only averaging 4 yards, but it feels like he's averaging way more than that because it almost feels like a first down every play.
Offset eye, they go back to Van Dam again. He crashes forward and gets a first. They're just going to keep handing it off to him until Minnesota are able to get a hand on him.
Yeah, it seems like he has unlimited stamina, and the defense hiring out faster than he is, and they're just pummeling down the defense.
Single back is Bentley. Sight will drop back this time. Zips it across. It's caught. Oh, what a grab. Picked up and dumped to the ground, but it was Bill Henry again with a big catch.
Jordan Side making a nice pass after handing the ball off to Van Dam and Bentley several times in a row. In fact, in chat, he goes, my pass isn't that bad, Mike. Let me throw. And sure enough, Mike allowed the throw to happen. And that was a positive decision because look at where they are. They're inching close to some field goal scenario.
Toss goes to Van Dam to the outside. He beats one to the outside, gets a first, pushes over another Minnesota defender, and that's a tough carry. What another fantastic run by Buford Van Dam. We talked about how last week was the coming out party for Jordan Sipe. I think tonight it's been this man who's stepped in a big role to fill in when they made the decision to release Phoenix Jones a number of weeks ago, and it's been a minute since they've kind of tried to work out what their running identity is, but tonight this has really put an emphasis on Buford Van Dam, and he has been outstanding in the run. He remains in the backfield here, and they're going to toss him to him again. This time Minnesota get bodies around him, but he shakes off 2 and 3, and eventually he's grounded for about a gain of 3, but another impressive run.
Just like that last boss that you got to send everything, the whole kitchen and the sink, throw the washroom as well at him. He shook 3 defenders before being tackled by the 4th one.
Offset eye again. Here's Van Dam. He'll push it to the outside. Minnesota chasing him across the field and eventually grounding him 2 yards shy of the first.
He did get one block, a nice block on the edge. Set him free for that horizontal run. Now, if he had a bit more speed, he probably got in the first down, but still, solid run from him. And he's still back there in the backfield.
Here we go. Can he do it again? Buford Van Dam's converted 3 third downs on this drive, all from 2 out. Sipe will hand it off to him again. He crashes forward. 3 for 3. Make it 4 for 4. Buford Van Dam. Another first down. And he's just motored his way downfield on this drive.
And he just is dominating the Minnesota defense. In this drive alone, he has 8 total carries. And all of them have been incredible. 3 for first down.
Bentley lines up in the backfield. Van Dam has kept Bentley pretty much out of the game today, but he'll get the carry here up the middle, and he'll only net a couple. It's almost as if it's like they're better off handing it to Van Dam in this game, and that's saying something because, as we mentioned, Ray Bentley is a Hall of Famer, one of the best tailbacks to ever be in the league. But tonight has been all about this rookie fullback, and he's back in at tailback in this formation that they've used so heavily. Sipe will hand it off to him to the outside. He's got room, but he's tackled for only a short gain and gives them a decision to make here. Miles Gibson with a stop. He's been a standout tonight for Minnesota.
And this is their first 3rd and medium situation in this drive. Fortunately for them, they're already in the shadow of the end zone inside the 7-yard line.
Well, if you're Mexico City, you cannot throw here. You just have to run, even though it's not necessarily the prettiest way of getting the points up. A turnover is the worst thing you can do. At least extend it to 2 scores with a field goal if you don't get a score here. They'll send Lockett in motion. It goes to Van Dam, and he'll be short. He'll only pick up a yard, but it means it's a chip shot for the kicker.
Coach Mike Daggs in chat agreeing, just run the ball, and sure enough, they did. And Jacob, the way this game has been progressing, I think this field goal is it. It might just be the nail in the coffin in what is a very defensive game.
It may well be. Chaz Blackwater, with his only attempt of the game from 22 out, to take it out to 2 scores. It's up and good. So Mexico City hold now a 2-score lead over the Minnesota Legend. And look, it's been a tough night for Minnesota's offense, but they haven't really unlocked the pass much, and you'd think in this situation they're going to have to start looking at it. But when they have been able to break free, it's been through the pass. So we'll see what they were able to draw out. They got the 2-minute warning and all 3 timeouts. Kickoff will be returned from the front of the end zone by, I believe, Kalia, and will be returned up to, rather, it was Quig Mam, up to the 29, and Commissioner Cameron Irvine has a final game break from Sioux Falls.
Thank you, Jacob. Just unbelievable stuff tonight from Fort Worth's defense. Another pick 6 for Aiden Davis, his second, the third of the game for the Toros. They win 51-6 and hand Sioux Falls their worst loss in franchise history. Back to you in Minnesota.
Oh my goodness, so we knew Fort Worth were good, but if that's not convincing you even more of what they're capable of, I don't know what will. What a performance. Minnesota now trailing. This is a big opportunity for them after that result. It's a short throw caught by Jason France, and they'll go into no huddle. That's the second time he's been targeted for a long gain. They'll get it off before the 2-minute warning. Short throw caught for a first down. That's a good pair of plays strung together by Johnny Reno, and that brings us to the 2-minute warning. Back here, Minnesota trailing the Aztecs at home. They've crossed halfway. Reno stays in an empty backfield. He'll launch it. It's caught by France again. Downfield, it's a third catch of the game for Jason French. Third catch of the quarter, mind you, and another impressive play by the tight end.
That is his second catch of the evening and 5 targets, totaling 81 yards. He had that huge 56-yard gain earlier, and another big play from him.
25 out. They're going to go with the 4 wide look again. Powell will go in motion to the bottom. No one picks him up. Reno drops back. Launches again. It's caught over the middle this time. Jay Taylor gets involved, and Minnesota will call their second timeout.
And now, within some scoring, if they can score quick and then get the onside kick, now things will look different. But they got to score first and not turn it over like previously.
Empty backfield again. Are they going to take an end zone shot here? 12 away from the goal line. France went in motion. Reno drops back again. He looks. It's incomplete. He had a look and it couldn't quite fall for Deezer Powell. Good coverage by Jermaine Menafield.
Alvarado as well, completing the double coverage at that side of the field, reading the play well. It was a good try, good idea to throw to the corner, but unfortunately, Mexico with a good defense.
Same formation that they've been running all drive, Minnesota. Reno drops back again with protection. He launches. This one's caught
there you
and a
go.
touchdown to boot. Queg Mam checks in and she's got the opening score of the Minnesota ball game. They're on the board.
And Minnesota finally, after 3 scoreless quarters this game, puts points in the board with 1 minute 40 seconds to go in the game clock. It took them a while, but they're here, and things are looking interesting, but we'll see if they can get the coin flip on the onside kick.
Here we go. It took us about 37 minutes, but we've got a ball game here in Minnesota. The extra point, Mickey Walillo nearly hooked that one to the right as well. He's got to try and get his right leg swinging back towards the middle a bit more in practice, but he nets this one. And there we go. So the question, they will kick the onside kick. Minnesota's hands teams out to try and recover. It's short. It's up for the taking. There's a flag on the play. And there you go. I mean, they recovered it, but it was short.
Yeah, unfortunate. You gotta be
Very
careful
unfortunate because they had recovered it.
They
so
did.
They'll get another chance at it, but it just pushes them further back. And it looks like... I'll try it again.
This is short again. Just give it back to Mexico. It is short again.
It is. Great call, Mark. And unfortunately, we've seen that happen a couple of times this season where teams have had a double fault on the onside kickoff. And that could be game over, really, pending something unforeseen.
Yeah.
So now the Aztecs will get the ball at their 30, at the opposite 35, and we'll look to ice this game through the hands and legs of Buford Van Dam. They'll line up in an ace formation, but the two wide receivers to that outside are purely cosmetic. This is not going through the air. Toss to Van Dam. He was met at the behind the line. He beats 2. He's off and racing for the first down. That's a great play and has been the story of this game. Buford Van Dam with a terrific run to the outside.
He is just a specimen out there, Riggs. 2 guys forced to the outside, but not before he gets the first down. So he really is just a beast out there.
Victory formation for the Aztecs, and I imagine that this is the right call with the time remaining on the clock. They're minute 30. That'll burn the last time out for Minnesota, so you'll need to do some quick math. But as a general rule, the play clock is set at 40 seconds, so this one is effectively over.
Yeah, and what a way to finish it. In their previous game, Mexico City did it with offense, outscoring their opponent 31-20 something. And this time they did it with defense, limiting the opponent to 7 points only.
Take a knee, so it means, just trying to do some math on the fly, I believe that if they kick the field goal, Minnesota may get possession. They're going to line up. This is an interesting formation. They've got Jason Bartley. It's still a victory formation. Goodness me. And so let's try and do some math here. They may have 30 seconds or so. We'll see.
They might have 10 when they get the ball back, or maybe not.
I think you might be right on the dot. Yeah, it'll be about 10 seconds once they 10-15 once they kick this field goal. Then you have to hope that the field goal kick return is either returnable to the point that he can bring it back, or not returnable and it stops the clock. So 46-yard attempt for Chaz Blackwater. Don't take your eyes off this one just yet. Kick is up and through the upright, so that will leave Minnesota with 13 seconds left on the clock pending the kickoff. They'll probably have one play.
Perhaps one play. And if I'm the kicking unit, I'm going to try to kick it to the end zone. I'm happy for them to get a touchback than a chance at scoring the return touchdown.
That's a smart kickoff as well by Blackwater, and just means that they have no choice but to return it, and they'll bring it up to the 40, so it was a good return, if anything, by Quegman, who scored that touchdown on the previous drive, and means that they've got to get about 60 odd on the fly.
They've had the one 56-yard reception earlier to Jason France, but that's just the one. They're going to hope and pray that they get something similar.
No timeouts remaining for the legend. This has been their formation in the 2-minute offense. Reno's going to drop back. Short throw is incomplete to France. The clock hasn't expired, but that wasn't what they needed. They're probably lucky he did drop that.
Yeah, lucky, because even if he did catch it, tackler was there to stop the game. Not even close at getting the end zone. They wanted to try to find something deeper with a chance to run it in as well.
And change the look, 4 wide. Single back is Hayden, or France rather, so they're taking France out of the frame. It's a deep look. It was caught long, but the clock will expire. He found Callier, but he was nowhere near the end zone. Game, set, bingo. The Mexico City Aztecs pick up their second win of the season on the road against the 3-4 Minnesota Legend, who now fall 2 wins behind 500. Upset Central to finish your Friday night block of Week 10 as the Aztecs take home the victory on the road. Your thoughts, Mark Lopez?
I mean, it's been an incredibly grindy game, Jacob, especially on the run game, where one team is just, and this is Mexico City's defense, overpowering the Minnesota running game, which is starring Colin Hart, of all players, incredible runner in his own right. They just stop him in his tracks. In the meantime, they themselves, look at that, it's showing 3.4 yards per carry, but total 110 rushing yards care of Buford Van Dam. A lot of those carries and time of possession as well. Mexico City just dominating on that front. Now, mind you, both teams punted a lot, but Mexico City just hang onto the ball longer and long enough for them to have the 6-point edge over Minnesota.
2 weeks in a row where Minnesota have broken their lowest scoring effort of the season. Last week they put up 17 against the Indianapolis Ramblers, and this week only 7. Last thing, Monday Night Spectacular will return this week with our first flex this season. The 5-3 Arizona Scorpions will welcome the 4-4 Portland Fleet in primetime October 2nd. This week of the SFL at 7:15, kickoff at 8:15 Eastern. The playoffs are almost here and you won't want to miss this crucial matchup in the race. I've been Jacob Clear alongside Mark Lopez, Rochelle Colston and Justin Reside on Stats. Good night.